They had a concept that it would be like Father of the Bride.
Yeah.
Like Three Men and a Bride.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great idea.
I would go see that 10 times tomorrow.
Well,
I really would.
Nobody's called, nobody's written.
They're going to do it right now. You guys, come on. Three Men and a Bride.
Tom Selleck is a name spoken softly yet carried with the weight of 5 decades of American television, a quiet titan who never rose through noise or spectacle, but through an integrity so rare it became a legend. He didn't climb to the top through shortcuts. He carved his place through rejection, sacrifice, pain, and relentless discipline. He gave the world Magnum PI, and America felt protected. He gave us blue bloods, and the nation rediscovered the quiet power of honor. Today, his $45 million fortune stands not as a symbol of luxury, but as proof of every scar, every bruise, every night he pushed through exhaustion when the cameras were off. Behind every success is a price no one ever saw. His story begins on January 29, 1945, in Detroit, Michigan, a city still recovering from war, where comfort was scarce and discipline the only stable currency. Tom grew up in a home defined not by ease but by expectations. His father, Robert, was a silent force, sharp and demanding. His mother, Martha, was steady and cautious, stretching every dollar like a fragile thread. There were no luxuries in the Selleck home. No room for softness. Only truth, work, and endurance. Years later, reflecting on his childhood, Tom said, "My parents taught me something money couldn't buy, how to stay steady when life wasn't." That steadiness wasn't inherited. It was forged. In 1952, the family packed everything into one car and drove west to Sherman Oaks, California. They weren't chasing dreams, they were escaping limitations. Hollywood was close, but their life remained modest and disciplined. Affection in the household was quiet, sometimes replaced by silence. Tom learned to read that silence, to carry responsibility without complaint. School wasn't easy, but it offered structure. The basketball court became his escape, the one place where the weight he carried loosened, where effort, not luck, earned results. Coaches admired his grit. Teachers admired his humility, but Tom never assumed greatness. Work was all he knew, so he simply worked. Then came 1962, the year that split his life in two. A violent car crash nearly ended everything. At 17, he lay between fear and revelation, realizing life could disappear in a single breath. He survived, but something inside him changed. Not broken, sharpened. Every step he took afterward carried a deeper awareness, a determination to not waste the life he was lucky enough to still have. That internal shift drove him toward a scholarship at USC, not because he dazzled but because he endured. Tom believed he would join his father in real estate, but fate redirected him. In 1965, a drama coach invited him into an acting class he never meant to enter. Yet inside that small room, something familiar awakened: discipline, focus, and a quiet power he didn't have to shout for. He began taking tiny roles in commercials and walk-ons, rarely noticed but always learning. Tom later said, "I wasn't trying to be discovered. I was just trying to hold on to something that felt real." Then in 1967, at only 22, he received his draft notice. Without hesitation, he joined the California Army National Guard, serving with the 160th Infantry Regiment. Duty wasn't an interruption, it was an extension of his character. But Hollywood has no patience for pauses. After 6 years in service, he returned in 1973 to an industry that barely remembered him. He took one-line roles, low-paying commercials, and suffered 6 failed pilots. Most actors would have quit. Tom didn't. He showed up again and again until casting directors finally remembered him for one thing: steadiness. His first spark came with the Rockford Files, where he played private investigator Lance White, charming and grounded. Audiences noticed. Hollywood noticed. And in 1980, everything changed. At 35, Tom Selleck stepped into the Hawaiian sun as Thomas Magnum, and his life would never be the same. Magnum PI wasn't just a TV show. It was a phenomenon. America embraced the mustache, the Ferrari, the humor, and the integrity that Tom brought effortlessly. Across 8 seasons, he earned $5 to $8 million, but the real price was hidden: long shoots under the sun, stunts he refused to hand off, holidays swallowed by production schedules, nights sleeping in trailers with boots still on. And then came the heartbreak that would follow him forever. In 1981, he was offered the role of Indiana Jones but had to turn it down because of Magnum PI. A place in movie history slipped away. Yet Tom's loyalty never cracked. When Magnum ended in 1988, a question haunted him: was he only Magnum? Hollywood is unforgiving to actors in their 40s, but Tom refused to fade. In 1987, Three Men and a Baby became the highest-grossing film in America. Films like Quigley Down Under, Mr. Baseball, and In and Out followed. Each role was a battle to redefine himself, to prove he was more than one character. But the real emotional war arrived years later. In the mid-2000s, Tom took on Jesse Stone, a deeply lonely, broken police chief fighting grief and addiction. Across 9 films, he poured the rawest parts of himself into the role, often leaving him shaken after scenes. It was one of his most painful and honest performances, and it prepared him for the role that would define the second half of his life. In 2010, Tom Selleck stepped into the world of Blue Bloods as Frank Reagan. He expected the show to last 5 months. Instead, it lasted more than 14 seasons and 275 episodes, earning him over $25 million. But again, the cost was buried: dawn call times, long nights, a body worn down by decades of stunts and hard work, scenes filmed while his back threatened collapse. Yet he never allowed the audience to see the pain. He never let a scene suffer. Behind the iconic roles was a man who quietly paid heavy prices: a marriage that broke in silence, years stolen by filming schedules, a body rebelling after decades of physical work. But he rebuilt. In 1987, he married Jillie Mack, and their ranch became a sanctuary, nearly 60 acres of land shaped not by fame, but by sweat. Their daughter Hannah was born in 1988, and in 1992, Tom did something rare for a major star: he stepped away from Hollywood to raise her. Fame was not worth missing fatherhood. Years later, when Hannah suffered a severe riding accident, Tom stayed by her side without question. His loyalty to his family never wavered. The ranch itself is a monument to his life. Every trench he dug, every tree he planted, every fence he repaired is a piece of his story. Even today, at 80, Tom walks the land slowly, feeding horses, checking fences, living a life shaped by peace, discipline, and quiet strength. Tom Selleck's story is not about celebrity. It's about endurance. He is a steady voice in a world addicted to noise, a real man in an age of performance. His legacy is one of resilience, responsibility, and integrity. His children, Kevin and Hannah, carry his values forward. His ranch stands as a living autobiography. And his career proves that true greatness isn't loud, it's steady. If Tom Selleck's quiet strength ever steadied you, if his characters ever made you feel protected, understood, or inspired, then even a single tribute is a whispered thank you to a man who carried more weight than the world ever realized, and never asked for applause. True courage is quiet. True legacy is steady. And true greatness is lived, not performed.